Hello, everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of I'm Just Fine. My name is Chrislyn, and I'm going to be your host today. And I can't believe today actually is happening because I put a lot of time and effort into creating a podcast. And I would have to say this journey has been very challenging for me because I'm a person who does live in fear. We'll talk about that. And I'm also a person who double checks and wants everything to be perfect. And there's no such thing as doing a perfect podcast, right? When getting started, you just kind of have to do it. And that's my problem, which is why it's taken me probably like 5 years to actually do this. But I also had different growth stages where 5 years ago, I probably would have been talking about something that I would probably hate today as myself, if that makes sense. So I'm kind of glad that I am starting today because it's all about timing. It's all about, where you are in life at the time that you start. And I think where I am in life today is a perfect time for me to start this podcast. So I am. So welcome to I'm Just Fine. Now, I know you're probably wondering, why did you call it I'm Just Fine? And I did have several names. This was not the original name for my podcast. I have created logos. I have created artwork for other podcast titles. And they just never really resonated with me and who I am and me being able to be comfortable to come on camera and to talk about things that are going on in my life. So, I'm Just Fine. Where did I get the title, I'm Just Fine? It actually came from my baby cousin. I believe he's 3-4 years old. And he's super smart. Very smart kid. Has vernacular that will make you question, are you sure you're 4 years old? He's definitely been here before. That's what I would say. He's one of those kids that you question reincarnation. This kid has definitely been here before. So I was on the phone with my cousin, and I was like, well, let me talk to your son. And she said, okay. And I asked him, so how you doing? And he said, Cousin Christina, I'm doing just fine. And I thought about it. I was like, nah, I know your life. You're not doing just fine. I know that you have one of the most severe cases of eczema that I have ever seen, to the point that your mom and dad sew mittens and socks to your pants and your sleeves so you can't scratch yourself till you bleed. But you're telling me you're just fine. And that resonated with me because I do the same exact thing. I do exactly the same exact thing that he does. I tell people I'm fine all the time. I'm just fine. Thank you for asking. I'm just fine. Thank you for asking. I know I'm not the only one. I know this is going to resonate with other people. And if it does, definitely subscribe, come hang out with me. We're going to talk about a lot of things, a lot of topics, but they're all going to be centered around my life and my growth and the direction my life is going. Most recently, I had a conversation with my best friend on Christmas Day. She called me on FaceTime. And she said, Christina, for weeks, you have been telling me that you're fine. And I've allowed you to do it. But I know you. I know your life. Similar to my little cousin, I know your life. I know what's going on in your life because we really are best friends. And you've been pulling yourself away and you've been very quiet and you've just been letting us know, I know something ain't right. So I'm going to allow you the opportunity to let me know what's going on. You need to tell me right now what's going on. And I'm going to allow you to say you're fine. And I did that. I was like, I'm fine. I'm fine. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm fine. And she said, no, you're not. So we're going to stay on FaceTime and we can look at each other in silence if you want. But eventually you're going to tell me the truth. What is going on? What is your issue? what is happening? You're not just fine. I eventually did. I eventually opened, and it's so easy for me to do that amongst friends, in my bubble, in my circle, in my world. Eventually I will open up. But doing a podcast and talking about things that are going on in my life and being transparent, it's a difficult thing for me to do. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm super uncomfortable. I am still second guessing and I'm still questioning whether or not I'm really going to do this. But I've had several conversations with many people who are like, you have a story to tell. You have so much that has impacted your life, and you have the ability to teach, and you have the ability to help others. Why not? And that's what has driven me to do this. Because I have the ability to help. If it's just even one person. If it's one person that I can help, I will be happy with that. Like, I had to get also into the mindset that, hey, you may not go viral. You may not, have a bunch of views on your videos. You may not. But if I just reach one person and I'm able to help one person out, then I will be okay. I had to get in that mindset because social media will chokehold you into believing success is based on metrics, right? And you can become monetized. I'm not saying that there isn't reward for, people following you, but it's just almost like you cannot just center your life around monetization. You can't center your life around what other people think. And I had to also get to that place. So this is why timing is so important, because mentally I wasn't ready to do this. I wasn't ready to be in this space. I wasn't emotionally prepared to be this vulnerable. So it took some time. It did. And I'm glad that I went on this journey of procrastination. It was procrastination. It was a lot of self-doubt. It was a lot of, are you sure? Like, your friends are telling you can do this. Your friends are kind of like, yes, do it, you should. And then you turn around and you're like, you got that person on your shoulder that's like, is you sure? They're going to question a whole lot of stuff. They're going to be looking at you sideways. They're going to say this, that, and the other. And what if this person says this? And what if that? Then what if you say the wrong thing and then you get canceled? And it's a lot of pressure. And I said, you know what? You got to be prepared for it. Got to be prepared for whatever comes your way, and have the strength to know that what you're saying is just positivity. You're going to be only putting positivity out there. I can't, in good faith, start a podcast and continue to put negative rhetoric out into the world. There's so much people who are already doing that. The podcast space is full of people who just want to put out punchlines and just say things to get an effect, to get monetization, because a lot of people love negativity. I've been on a podcast panel where people have paid money to say negative things. And it's unreal, the space where podcasting can go. It's just very weird to me that people would pay money to say negative things. But hey, that's just where podcasting is. But I said if I was going to do this, that it was going to come from a pure place. And it was going to come from a place of genuineness and authenticity and healing and reality. It wasn't going to be, I'm just going to be repeating rhetoric that I heard from another podcast, and that podcast, went viral, and because they said it now, I'm going to repeat it and have a topic about that because it's trending. Not what's going to happen in this space. And if that's what you're looking for, unfortunately, I don't have that for you. I'm not repeating previous podcast spaces that I was on. So if that's what you're looking for me to do, the answer is no. If you're asking me to cam up on your podcast in that same space, the answer is no. I've already ignored quite a few requests to come on your podcast to continue to be in the space of negativity, not doing it. So I'm just fine. Why am I talking about this? Because I have a story. And my story it's a difficult one. It's one that could bring you to tears. It is a story that, even for me, every day I had to get out of questioning God. Why me? Why this? Why did you put this on my shoulders? I know they say God won't put more on you than you can bear, but I have found that I struggle with this. Like, am I this bad of a person that I deserve to have to endure this? But then I see some of the most beautiful people, even my best friend, she deals with lupus. Even my best friend, her character is just so good. And I'm like, why her? And then I had to get to a place where I wasn't questioning why me, but why not me? Why not me? Why am I not the person who is going to be able to talk to you about these things? And I'm going to get to what those things are, okay? Because I promise there's a whole lot to talk about. So I created this podcast in this space because I have a bubble around me. My bubble is my bubble. It's safe. No one knows what's going on. No one is going to be knocking on your door asking you a bunch of questions. No one is going to be, able to pull at your most vulnerable spots. That's my bubble. It's safe. Even from my best friends at times. If I keep it all in and to myself, I have my bubble. And I'm going to pop my bubble today. And I'm going to let you in to a world that's like, I would never have expected that that's what she was going through. Because when you see me, you generally well put together. I don't like people seeing me sweat. Even with work, like, they had no idea the things that I was going through because I was still performing. I was still putting out great quality work, even though I struggled to do so because of medical conditions, because of psychological pressures, because of just everything that was going on in my world. I had all this stress and I just internalized it, right? And that's dangerous. Don't internalize a lot of stress. I will talk about that too. I had gotten to a place where I was just saying, I'm fine. I'm fine. This is going on. I would go to the doctor and I would get a diagnosis and I would just compartmentalize it and put it with everything else. Everything else in the bucket of my health, it goes here. I'm going to put it here, compartmentalize that. I'm going to compartmentalize the issues that are going on in my family. I'm going to compartmentalize the issues that are going on at work. And I just put everything in its own little place. And they all intertwine, as we know. And I just say, okay, this is this. I'm going to try to work on this. And then it just started to stack and stack and stack and stack. And eventually, it's like, I got to minimize this. This is not so much of a big deal. Minimize that. Okay. This is not so much of a big deal. Let me minimize that. This is not so much of a big deal. Minimize that. I'm just fine. I'm going to play a little game with you. Play a little game to kind of introduce you to my world and to my bubble and why I'm just fine makes sense. I am going to be showing you things like videos or pictures, and this kind of like goes into the world of social media and how it's what you see on social media is not necessarily the whole picture. And I hope more and more we resonate with this. And I do hope more and more that people become more authentic on social media, because the inauthenticity is almost sickening sometimes. And if I'm going to do this and I'm going to be putting information out and I'm going to be talking about things, I want to be my authentic self. And that's a challenge that I have with social media. I don't post a lot because if I did tell my whole truth, it's a lot. And I didn't want to be that vulnerable. And for the people who do, and you do go out and you do talk about your issues and you are helping people by telling your story, you are brave. And kudos to you. And I'm trying to join you in that journey. And hopefully I'm able to do so. All right, so first pictures we have are my housewarming. What a great time. I had an amazing time at my housewarming. You know why I had an amazing time at my housewarming? Because I had so many people who loved me at my housewarming. Well, I should say love me, not loved, but love me at my housewarming. I had people come from long distances, short distances, medium distances, sent gifts, just really was so proud that I bought a house. I bought a house in Atlanta, and I love my home. I'm actually recording right now in my home. But what people didn't see was a very scared woman. I actually saw this event potentially as my last hoorah. And my friend said, stop saying that. Why are you saying that? Like, that's such a negative thing to say. And I said, well, because it's true. I started facing my issues and my challenges head on. Like, this is a reality. What's about to happen to you is a reality. That following the following Friday, I had surgery. Now, the surgery I had was not it shouldn't have been life-threatening, right? It's not a life-threatening surgery, but it definitely was necessary. I had an MRI done in December, and my gynecologist was like, you have 2 huge fibroids that are pushing down on the walls of your vagina, and they may pretty much go through the walls of your vagina the way that they are both pushing down. So it's not like it was, one obscure fibroid. They were just fighting each other, pushed my IUD out of place. Like, my IUD was in my vagina somewhere. I had to have surgery. Unfortunately, the surgery, there's no expectations. There's not like the doctor can go in. And my doctor was like, it's going to be a 2.5-hour surgery. We're going to go in. We're going to remove the fibroids. We're going to get that IUD out of there, girl, because, the IUD is kind of just pushed, all obscured by the fibroids. And then we're going to go in and we're going to do your, check in on your endometriosis. So I have both. I have endometriosis, and I had 17 fibroids. 17. I did not know I had 17 fibroids. So I already knew I had stage 4 endometriosis because I have had a previous surgery. We'll talk all about surgeries and my journey these past, since my unofficial diagnosis. Stage 4 endometriosis, 17 fibroids, a woman with a desire to have children one day, potentially, if that's God's will. It's one of the most scariest things ever because fibroids cause infertility. Endometriosis destroys your organs if it, gets way out of hand. And I'm stage 4. And at the time, they were telling me, you have endometriomas in both ovaries. So what potentially could happen is they tell you have to sign waivers. Whatever organs we feel that need to come out due to your endometriosis, we're going to take out. It's scary. I was scared. I'm like, oh my gosh, what if they have to take out my ovaries? What if they have to take out my fallopian tubes? What if they tell me they had to give me a full-blown hysterectomy because of everything that was going on? So it's very important that you find a good surgeon. I found a surgeon who her goal is preservation of the uterus. And she knew my desire to one day have children. So she did everything she could to save everything. And she did, which we'll talk about my surgery. It was 5.5 hours. Unexpected. So my life daily is ensuring that I don't grow 17 fibroids again. And my endometriosis stays under control. Unfortunately, today was a very challenging day for me. I wasn't going to record. And I almost put it off. If I didn't have a goal, I would have continued putting it off. And today was one of those days. Today, I got my first menstrual cycle after having surgery. It was the most painful thing ever, right? Because it's dealing with, my body is still healing. And I'm in a lot of pain. Right now I'm in pain. And I actually have my heating pad right here, no lie. So in case I need to put my heating pad on, I will. But I didn't want to record with it because, again, image. But I may well enough end up putting it on. So by the end of the video, I might have a heating pad on. You know what? Fuck it. I am in pain, and we're going to get through this. And hey, this is my reality. This is my life. So every woman who has endometriosis, I know you got one of these, sis. I know you do. And I know you got ibuprofen on deck, which I've already taken my ibuprofen. You're just going to have to get my heating pad, and you're going to have to be okay with it and understand this is my life. I said I was going to be real. I was going to be raw. I was going to be authentic. This is real, raw, and authentic. So I'm in pain, and I almost procrastinated and said, you know what, because I'm in pain, I'm not going to record. I'm not going to reach my goal. I'm going to continue to procrastinate. And I said I wasn't going to do that. That's not what we're doing. We're going to record. So that's what you saw. This is my life for real. Like in real life, I struggle with endo. I struggle with fibroids. Well, not so much anymore because they've been removed, 17. I had to have my appendix removed. I had both ovaries cut open, endometriomas removed, and I had to have my IUD taken out surgically and I had endometriosis stage 4 excision. I have graphic photos that I will show for my surgery. That episode may not be for you if you have a weak stomach, but I am going to go through my surgical procedure and just the journey, living with endo, what it is and how devastating it is. And I just bringing more awareness to fibroids and why so many women have them and why so many Black women have them. That's what affects me the most is that between the different racial groups, why Black women are exponentially higher. And we'll talk all about that. So that's what you saw. You saw my housewarming. It was awesome. We had such a great time. Now, what you saw. This girl getting up, going to the gym, working out. Yes, honey, every morning, 5 a.m., I got up and I worked out. It was challenging. Getting up at 5 a.m. Anybody who gets up at 5 a.m. to go to the gym, it becomes a lifestyle, yes, where your body wakes you up and says you need to go to the gym. And you feel bad if you don't go to the gym. But what you didn't see was that in order for me to use the bathroom, and yes, I mean have a bowel movement, I had to go to the gym. Exercise was the only thing, and I mean exercising where I'm going down and I'm squatting, or if I'm lifting things, it helped with bowel movements. But my constipation it had to do with my endometriosis affecting my bowels. And also I had a fibroid that was restricting my bowel that I found out that I had when I got a colonoscopy. So before my surgery, I had to get a colonoscopy to see if endometriosis had destroyed my bowels and I would need to get a bowel resection. I can't imagine that challenge. I can't. I couldn't imagine bowel resection gone wrong. There's like so many things that you could think about. But I thank God that my bowels did have endo all over it, but I didn't need a bowel resection. It didn't proliferate my bowels. That's what you saw. You saw the person going to the gym. You're like, oh, yeah, she has her life together. She's going to the gym. She's fit. She's active. Love it. But what you didn't see was someone who was like, you know what, if you don't do this, you know you're not going to the bathroom today. Next. You saw the girl that went to Nobu. Oh, yes. Everyone has talked about this top. People have asked me, where did you get the top? I've sent the link to people where you can get the top. The top is from Akira. I think that's how you say it, Akira. That's where I got the top. And once I saw the top, and actually how I saw the top was someone was doing the get ready with me to go to the Beyonce concert. And that was one of her options. And then she chose something else. And I was like, no, you should have chose the other top, the Akira top. I ended up buying the top because I saw her have it. I'm like, I'm going to find this because I need this in my closet. So I bought the top. And boy, when I put that top on in the beginning of September, it zipped, honey. Zip, zip. And the skirt I bought with it, zip, zip. I could do it all by myself. Yes. I put the outfit on. I said, oh, we ready for Nobu. We gonna take pictures. We gonna be bougetto. No, I'm just kidding. We gonna be bougie. We gonna be bougie. We gonna go to Nobu. We're gonna do our fine dining experience. Me and my friends like to go out and try new restaurants. And we had made this reservation for Nobu like a month in advance. So I was ready. My first Nobu experience, because I always hear about Nobu, I had my outfit. Month later, when we went to Nobu, what you didn't see. Now, I do say I did look good. I'm not going to lie. But what you didn't see was my friend, oh, my dear friend, who had to get the WD-40 out, and the grace of God, his hands came down from heaven to help her get me into this outfit. Because, baby, the weight I put on in that month, I could not fit that outfit. I could not put it on if my life depended on it. She had to push the booty cheeks in, and we struggling with the zipper together. I'm holding the side. She's trying to zip it up. It was a whole experience to get into that outfit because I had gained so much weight. And in that month, I don't know how much weight I put on, but I put on a lot of weight. I can't fit nothing in my closet. I can't fit nothing in my closet. If it's not stretchy or if it's not a dress or something I could throw on real quick, I can't fit it. Jeans, we ain't fitting none of the jeans in my closet. Skirts, anything that's pants, it's not happening. I don't think I've worn pants in my closet. There's probably only one pair of jeans in my closet I could fit, okay? And it's my Walmart jeans, my Old Faithfuls. Like, y'all sleeping on Walmart jeans, okay? Walmart got a pair of skinny fit jeans that fit my gluteus maximus and my waist very nicely, even when she thickety thick. Walmart jeans are the only jeans that will give you self-esteem as well as they still fit, even when you gain weight, because mine are size 6. I had to come to terms with my weight gain. And even to record this podcast today, I was self-conscious. I was like, oh my gosh, what are people going to say? Like, especially people who know me. She's been fit and she disappeared for a while and now she's a little thickety thick. What's going on? Oh, that must be that in love weight. You know what they say, like you get in love and then you gain a bunch of weight because it's the happy weight. No, that's not what it is. It's not. I'm on medications that make you gain weight. I'm a stress eater, so I binge eat, and I'm going to admit it today. I binge eat. I have an unhealthy relationship with Uber Eats. Me and Uber, you know what? Pause. Uber Eats, let me talk to you directly. We're breaking up. I am breaking up with you, Uber Eats. You can no longer treat me like this. Maybe I am in a happy relationship with Uber Eats because he brings me the things that I want. He brings me the food that I want. He brings me the food directly to my door. Even when I ask him, like, Uber, can you bring this? Can you bring me Five Guys burgers and fries, please? Double patty, bacon, cheese, pickles. Mustard and no mayo. Oof. Mustard and ketchup. A little Cajun fry, please, because a regular Cajun fry is way too many fries. Can you bring me this directly to my door? I binge eat when I'm stressed. So it's a compilation as to why I gained weight. It's compounded factors of terrible eating, no exercise because I'm recovering from surgery, and my medication. And so for 2024, that's one of my goals, is to find the balance between all of these 3 things. And one of them is breaking up with Uber Eats. Uber Eats, we're breaking up because I want to fit my clothes in my closet. I'm not buying new clothes. I already said it. I'm like, I will wear the same thing over and over again, and you're just going to have to be okay with it, or I'm not going out. It's wintertime anyway. Summer bodies are made in winter, so I guess I got to start now, right? I almost didn't record. I really didn't because I was like, oh my gosh, you've gained so much weight. You probably don't look that great, and the camera puts extra pounds on you. You know that. So again, getting in my head, allowing negative thoughts to direct what I'm going to say or what I'm going to do. I opted out of doing that. I said, you know what, whether your uterus hurts, whether you feel fat today, whether your clothes aren't fitting properly, you're going to cam up and you're going to have this dialogue and this conversation, and you're going to put this podcast out no matter what. You have a deadline by the end of the year. So what you saw, fabulous outfit at Nobu. I am not going to lie. It was fabulous. One of my best works. What you didn't see was Jesus holding it all in and together, because baby, if I probably moved too far to the left, that zipper was going to go and pop, and all of my derriere would have been shown to the world. There was little stretch left in that skirt, and there was no stretch in that top, and it very so could have been a very bad decision in wearing that outfit to Nobu. The next thing you might have saw was a woman on the beach in Dubai. And I looked fabulous. I'm not gonna lie. I had been working out, and it definitely showed, because all my swimwear looked great, and I was able to fit into some of the amazing clothes in my closet that I can't fit right now. I can't wear that swimsuit right now. My entire titty would be out, or my entire derriere would have ate that entire bottom. But what you see is this girl on the beach taking photos. Wonderful photographer. Shout out to my friends. And what you don't see is that I don't lift my arms. I do not lift my arms because I have horrible scarring. And I can show you. I have horrible scarring under my arms from hidradenitis suppurativa. And it makes me very self-conscious. As you can see, I quickly put my arm down. But I'm going to be transparent and honest. I have scarring under my arms. I was diagnosed when I was 10 years old. So I do get really bad boils underneath my arms. And sometimes they come to the surface and they rupture or burst. And sometimes they don't. They're just really uncomfortable sores. And if they do burst, then you have an open wound that then ends up scarring over, and there's a lot of scar tissue and scars under my arms. So it makes me very self-conscious to lift my arms, and I tend to not do motions that would bring attention to my underarms. And again, it probably is all in my head. And I just don't acknowledge, that it's just scars. Give yourself grace. It's just scars. It's not something you can change. You're genetically not, processing things correctly, and you're growing these cysts. And if you could stop it, you definitely would, right? If I could stop it and stop the growth of the boils, I would. But again, I'm not going to be on a cocktail of drugs. I'm already on drugs for this, and this. And if I start adding and cocktailing more, it's very scary what that could look like. So that's what you saw. You saw a woman who was taking pictures, but you will never see a picture of me having my arms up. So the people who have arms that just looks just like skin, their skin is continuing from their underarm all the way down the side of their chest. It's beautiful to me. I maybe one day, I don't know if cosmetically I will get something done, or if I'm just going to say, screw it. I have scars, and you're either going to see them and deal with them, and just getting to that place. And I think I'm more leaning towards getting to the place of, you see my scars. I don't care if you see my scars. Just, don't stare. It's rude. So yes, I have hidradenitis suppurativa. So what you saw, actually you saw this on national TV. So I was on a reality TV show. And the reality TV show, I was like an extra. I wasn't the main event, the main character. But the very first episode, I wore my natural hair. And at the time, it was really, really short. And I was so scared to wear my natural hair. And it wasn't because I have an issue with my natural hair. If you know me, I've been natural my entire life. Like, you never saw me in a wig. I might have worn extensions and braids, but my hair underneath those braids were always natural. And I only wore braids because they were easier to manage because I played sports. I was so scared to be on national TV because It's like what you saw was, wow, she looks great. What you didn't know, what was happening behind the scenes, was that I was diagnosed with alopecia. So having alopecia, so I was diagnosed with CCCA alopecia. I have to be very specific because there's multiple types of alopecia. And I think that's also something that I want to bring awareness to, because a lot of these hair companies like to sell for alopecia, and there's just so many different forms of alopecia, and the alopecia that they're probably trying to help you with is not the alopecia that you have. And it's very important to find out what specific alopecia you have, because there's multiple alopecias. So I was diagnosed with CCCA alopecia. With CCCA alopecia, it is a form of scarring alopecia. So you, well enough, could end up with your hair completely, your follicles completely scarred over where no hair grows. And for all my baldies out there who are CCCA warriors who just decided, you know what, I'm done. I'm going to wear my baldy, my heart, and everything. I understand your story. I know why you did it, and I understand your frustration. I was just having this conversation with my best friend on my way to my dermatology appointment. I said, I get it. I understand. I know why they do it. I know why anybody who has just said, I'm going to wear my bald head because alopecia is just so difficult to deal with. I get it. The wigs are expensive. Getting the treatments for alopecia is expensive. And for the people who are like, you could just do things holistically and this is what you need to do, been there, tried it, did it. We'll talk about that journey too. I know what works for me. You see my hair today. It did not look like this. Probably a month ago. I had a flare up a month ago and I was missing the whole front chunk of my head. But when I first got diagnosed, I was missing like the whole sides, like it had progressed pretty bad. But I was on national TV and I said, you know what? I'm going to wear my hair. And I wore so much fibers, those hair fibers, spray fibers. Because I was like, oh my gosh, I do not want the camera to see any bald spots. I even watched the premiere, not listening to what I was saying. I could care less what I was saying. It was recorded for an hour and they only showed 5 minutes. But I was more focused on my hair. I created a Twitter account. I'm not on Twitter. Well, now it's X. But I created an X account because I wanted to see what people were going to say. I was like, oh my gosh, someone's going to mention something about my hair and da-da-da, and I hope that this does not become a thing. I hope. And I was more scared about my hair and my bald spots going viral than being on TV, I swear to God. I was so scared. I was absolutely scared. I was petrified to the point that the next episode, I wore a wig. And I just went into a safe space, went into my bubble. I put on a wig and I said, okay, well, this is me anyway. Like I wear wigs and if he doesn't like my wig, then he's not going to like my wig, whatever. And it so happens he did not like the wig. I didn't get another date because I wore the wig. And it's fine. I don't care. But it's just the fact that on reality TV, couldn't be real. The reality was I was dealing with alopecia and I didn't want to have that be a storyline. I wanted my storyline to be fake. Well, it wasn't. I am a photographer, but I didn't want my storyline to be as real as it could have been. It's reality TV, but yet I hermited into unrealistic safe world. And even at the reunion, I wore a whole different wig. It got to the point where they're like, every time you come to set, we don't know who we're going to get. And I said, well, I'm a chameleon. You never know what you're going to get. But it was actually because I didn't want people to know about my alopecia and what I was dealing with. So for all the people who asked me, who know me, if you know me personally, the question was, why is she wearing wigs? She's always been natural her entire life. Like anytime I met her, she had locks. She had a short taper cut. I don't know her to be this person who wears wigs. The answer is I have alopecia. I have alopecia. I was diagnosed and I fight it every single day. I have a morning routine. I have a night routine. I'll go over those routines, but it has been helping me, and this especially in this past, since my last flare up, which was about 6 weeks ago, it's definitely been helping me grow my hair back. So I'm going to continue on this journey and I will bring you into that world of what I do on a daily basis to keep hair on my head. And it is not cheap. I definitely empathize with those who are not able to seek the treatments that they need, or they don't have doctors that specialize in certain medical conditions. And I, of course, will share my doctors and share my experiences with you. So if you are looking for treatment, then you know exactly where to go. And I'm wearing a fro today. This was a lot. This was a lot for me to do. And I said this year I was going to wear my hair more and not hide behind wigs. But if you see me in a wig, empathize with me, because I'm probably having a flare up and I'm probably in a place of hardship when it comes to my hair. Thank you for giving me grace. So that's pretty much it. That's just my medical history. Let's just be honest. I'm into so much more than my medical history, but I just wanted to bring reality to the idea of what you see is not 100% what's going on with somebody. And you have to give people grace. And when you're going into this new year, give people grace. You don't know what they could look so well put together, but in actuality, they're on the struggle-ly bus. I call that the struggle bus. They could be very much so on the struggle bus. You have to give people grace. You don't know what they're going through, and you don't know if that one thing that you say or do will push them over the edge. Not everybody. They always say, check on your strong friends. Check on your strong friends, because I'm one of the strong friends, and most people are like, oh, she's fine. She's just fine. Christina's fine. She's fine. Christina's fine. Yeah, she's fine. So give people grace. Also, you have to try to get out of your rut. I overstand what it feels like to have endometriosis. I overstand how dilapidating it is. I understand what it's like to have fibroids. I had 17 of them. I understand what it's like to deal with CCCA alopecia and having your confidence pulled out of you. I understand what it's like to be tired all day because you don't sleep well because you have a sleep disorder. And dysfunctional sleep affects everything else. I understand what it's like to have insecure scarring and just an uncomfortable medical condition. That's painful. But I'm challenging myself to get up every day and say, you know what? Today is going to be the best day I can make it. I'm not going to wallow anymore. I'm not going to overeat and use food as a coping mechanism. I'm not going to hide behind my bubble of, well, this is what's going on with me, so I can't be a good person. Trust me, I understand. And this journey is going to be bringing awareness to different medical conditions. I'm not only going to be talking about that because I like to have fun. And I think that's going to be very boring if every time you come on every week, it's like, so let's talk about endometriosis. I get it. Definitely going to bring awareness to it. But I also like fashion. I also like food. I also like restaurants. I also like movies. I also like travel. I also like men. So there's so much more to my life than just my medical conditions. This was just to introduce you to why I'm calling it I'm Just Fine. Because behind the scenes of everything going on, this is what I deal with. But I still find a way to get out and do other things and have a life, and a beautiful life. I have to say, I'm not mad at the life I have. Don't give me the pity party. I'm not here to have a pity party with you. I'm not. My life is actually fantastic. If I look around and the things that I have and what I built and the things that, and the way where my life is going, I can't sit back and say, oh, my life is not great. My life is great. I have a lot of challenges, most definitely a lot of challenges, but I am blessed. And if I have the strength to open up and share with you, I'm hopeful that this helps you, because that's the only reason I'm doing it. I'm not doing it for accolades. I'm not doing it because I want people to say, hey, look at me. I'm doing it because if I reach one person and I help you, then that's all that I need. I want to be able to help people, and I have the knowledge and the experience and the expertise to be able to help you. No, I'm not a medical doctor, but I know a lot of medical terminology, and I do a lot of research because that's what I got a master's in. I do know what's important and how to navigate the healthcare department because I work in the industry. So if I have this knowledge and I'm able to share it with you and it helps you in your day-to-day, then that's what I'm going to do. It may be a new calling for me. Who knows? But I'm making today my last day one. And I want to share that with you. Make today your last day one. Whatever you want to do, whatever your first goal is, start today. Make today your last day one. It's like, yeah, we say that term when we go to the gym. It's day one. No, make today your last day one with anything in your life. Whatever you choose to want to do, make today your last day one. And I'm going to end the show with that saying every single time. Make today your last day one. It's powerful if you think about it. If you're moving forward, you'll never have another day one. So whatever your challenge is, make today your last day one. And that's all I have. And I also do this heart. I've been doing this heart forever. I love you. I'm here to support you. And if you enjoyed the show, please follow me. Please subscribe. I plan to try to do something at least weekly. And I want to keep it entertaining. So leave me comments on things you want to talk about. Questions that you have. I can incorporate your questions into the show and answer your questions. So it's going to be hopefully interactive. I have my own content, but it's what you want to hear. It's for you, right? I'm doing this for you. So whatever you want to hear, let me know what you want me to talk about, because I will change my show, change it around, make sure I incorporate that information for you. So thanks so much for joining, and thank you so much for your support, and I'll see you in 2024.